Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and happy Valentine's Day. This should be going out the day before Valentine's Day if I get to upload it on time. I just thought it'd be really fun to spend today's video talking about my top 5 favorite romance tropes because over the last year or so I've just been reading a bunch of romances and I found a lot that I really enjoy. So I just thought it'd be fun to kind of do a countdown. So I am going to be doing it from my least favorite of my favorites up to my absolute all-time favorites. I have one that is kind of an honorary mention because I don't actually know if it's actually a romance trope, but it is the slow burn. So I guess it's more of like a pace, but I am definitely an anti-insta love romance reader. I hate insta love. Even sometimes people consider things to not be insta love and I still kind of think that they happen way too fast. So that's definitely one that I would say I absolutely do not enjoy. But a good slow burn, especially if it happens over multiple books or if it's like side characters in the original book or original series and then they get their own books later on. I just love a good slow burn. I do feel like when I read romances or at least read series that maybe are like fantasy, they're not exactly based on one couple, I feel like the main couple that is like the sole focus of the book is not my favorite. I always enjoy like little spatterings of side couple like interactions with each other that could build to be more. I always seem to prefer those to the main romances in books, no matter the genre. So yeah, a good slow burn spanning many books is the best. So honorary mention is for slow burn because I'm not sure if it exactly counts as a trope. And for this video, I'm going to be sharing my favorite book that incorporates these romance tropes. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started with number 5. And number 5 is what I would call promiscuous man decides to give up his lifestyle to be with the main character. I absolutely love that. I love like I don't know if you'd call them like golden retriever boys. I do love like a surly love interest as well, but there's just something about like a golden retriever boy that I just love. And I feel like that is something I find a lot in romance books is like the golden retriever boy is like the star of the football team or whatever and like has all the ladies, but then he meets our heroine and then decides to give up that lifestyle. Or sometimes it doesn't happen like instantly after he meets the heroine. I kind of prefer it to kind of like be a slow realization for him. He's like, why can't I be with anyone else? Like every time I try, like I just keep thinking about this person, and I absolutely love that, and oh, it just makes me so happy. And for this one, I have my favorite book from the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy, and that is The Score. This is the 3rd book. I love it so much. I've reread it like 4 times at this point. When I'm in like a slump or I just feel like picking up a romance book that I know I'm gonna love, I will reread this book and it's the best. I love this book so much. It's probably like my favorite. Is it my favorite romance book? It might be my favorite romance book. I'm obsessed. So in this one we follow Dean and Allie. Dean is one of the roommates of Garrett, who was the love interest in the first book. So, and then Allie is the best friend of the female love interest or the female main character in the first book. So Allie in this book breaks up with her boyfriend and she's kind of worried that he's going to show up at their dorm and try to talk to her, and she just like doesn't want to deal with that. So she contacts Hannah and talks to her, and then she's like, you should just go stay at Garrett's place. Dean's the only one who's home, so he won't bother you. Yeah. So she's like, okay, I guess so. They were out of town with the couple from the second book, so she says that Allie can just go to his place and sleep in Garrett's room. And so she gets there and Dean is like with some other girls, and she comes and then kind of cockblocks him a little bit, and then the girls leave, and then Dean kind of starts hitting on her and she's like, don't hit on me, you know, like she finds him kind of repulsive a little bit in the beginning, but then tequila happens and then they end up sleeping together, and it's fade to black. There's a bonus chapter that you can actually get that kind of shows their first time together, but yeah. So they wake up the next morning, she's like, oh my god, this was such a mistake, and then he's like, stop freaking out about it, and then she ends up leaving, and then after that, they keep on like needing to see each other through different circumstances. And yeah, so Dean is like a total playboy at the beginning of this. He just like hooks up with everybody, but then Allie kind of just starts like ingraining herself into his life, and he like can't stop thinking about her, and like he tries to be with other women, but he's like can't do it. He can't do it. And I also enjoy it because she's not like fawning over Dean. If she was like fawning over Dean, I wouldn't really like it, but she doesn't want to want him. So she's kind of harder to persuade. So like she doesn't want to want him. So it's just so beautiful. It's so good. Oh, I love it. This series is one of my absolute favorites. So that's number 5. And my number 4 favorite romance trope is forced proximity. This is just where the two love interests, two main characters, are forced to be in the same place together, whether that be like trapped inside a Walmart, a la Dawson's Creek. I love that episode. Need to live together because one of them can't afford their own apartment, or you know, something like that. Lots of different reasons, but I just love this because it often also has the there's only one bed trope, which I also love. It's not in my top 5, but I do love that one as well. But it's just forces beyond their control sometimes force them to be in the same place, and then there's usually a lot of banter, and it's just so fun. And for this one, I'm gonna go with my favorite fantasy romance. It's A Court of Silver Flames. Look how beautiful this dust jacket is. I love it. So this is the 4th full-length novel in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. It follows Nesta, who is Feyre, the main character from the original trilogy's older sister, and Cassian, who is one of the characters that is introduced in the 2nd book of that trilogy. I don't want to go too much into spoilers if you haven't read the ACOTAR series or A Court of Silver Flames. So if you don't want to be spoiled for this book or any of the ACOTAR stuff, I'm not really going to go into the ACOTAR stuff that much, but if you don't want to know what I'm going to talk about in this book, you can go to this timestamp, and then I won't be talking about this book anymore. In the 3rd ACOTAR book, there's this great war, and Nesta has to do some like pretty intense stuff, and it kind of leaves her traumatized. And so she starts, people would say, acting out and not being a part of like Feyre's inner circle, essentially. And so Feyre and Rhys is Feyre's mate, and the High Lord, are basically like tired of Nesta's shit, and she hasn't been utilizing or even trying to get to know the powers that she's gotten since she became High Fae, and they're tired of her like just drinking and having sex and not doing anything, and so they force her to help Cassian with, he's the commander, I think, is that what you call it? He like basically runs the military, and so they tell her that she has to go and learn how to use her powers, and they're gonna cut her off or make her go to the human world if she doesn't get her shit together. And through this, they have to live together at the House of a Wind, which is one of the houses that Rhys and Feyre have. And so they're forced into living there together, and her learning to become a warrior, kind of, like learning how to hone her power. And I love this book so much. Ever since they introduced Nesta, I love her, okay? I can understand why people don't like her, but Nesta, since day one, has been one of my all-time favorite leads in anything. I absolutely love her so much. And Cassian obviously is just the best too, and I just, ever since their first interaction, I was like, this is gonna be my shit and my ship. It's gonna be my ship, and it is, and I love them, and I love how much they have to work together in this one, and I love all of the stuff that happens in the house, and it's just so good, so fantastic, and I love it. And my 3rd favorite romance trope is the single dad trope. I love it. I have not actually read that many, so I definitely need some recommendations if you guys have any. I think I've only maybe read 2. I've read All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata, where the kid is kind of older. And then my favorite is Heartless by Elsie Silver, which I read in the tail end of 2022. This is the 2nd book in the Chestnut Springs series, and It's so good. This follows Cade and Willa. Cade is the brother of Rhett, who is the main love interest from the first book, and she is Summer's best friend. Summer is the female love interest, female main character from the first book. Cade, he needs a nanny for his young son, and Summer offers up Willa as a potential nanny for him, and she becomes the nanny, obviously, for the kid, and they fall in love, and it's steamy, fun times. But I just love this because I love the female main character's interactions with the kid and how that makes the like dad character fall in love with her, essentially. Like in this one, that's pretty much how it happens, is she becomes like really close to his son, and he kind of like is seeing their really great relationship with each other and like how well she cares for him, and it's just so cute. I haven't really read very many single mom books, but of those that I have, I feel like I prefer the single dad. I don't know why. I think it's just like I really like the female love interests interactions with kids. I can't help it. I don't actually like kids that much in real life, but kids in books can be cute sometimes. They can also be terrible sometimes, but they can also be very cute. And yeah, so I tabbed the heck out of this one. It is just my favorite. It's so good. So yeah, if you have any single dad romance recs, let me know. Next up, we have, I feel like most people's favorite romance trope, at least the people that I know, and that is enemies to lovers. Yep. Are you surprised it's not number one? Can you guess what number one is? But I will say that the term enemies to lovers gets thrown around constantly, and it's not the level of enemies to lovers that I enjoy. Like Get a Life, Chloe Brown. People say that's an enemies to lovers. It's not an enemies to lovers. Enemies to lovers has to be like mutual enemies. The guy in that one, he like likes her from the beginning. It's not enemies to lovers, and maybe she like pretends to not like him, like no. And also book lovers, like sometimes people say that that's an enemies to lovers. No, it's not. Maybe they didn't have the best first encounter with each other, but it doesn't seem like they hate each other. Like, you know, there's just so many books where people throw around enemies to lovers willy-nilly. No, it's not true. I need the two main characters to like actually loathe each other, or like in fantasy, like they're on opposing sides, so they have to hate each other. Like, they need to hate each other, okay? And that is why my favorite of the enemies to lovers books that I've read is Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. They don't like each other. They really don't like each other. I think it's because they see so much of themselves in each other, but they are like, they really hate each other at the beginning of this. So that's why I think it's great to like see their relationship develop. And in this one, also a companion book, he is the brother of the female main character from the first book, and she is the best friend of the female main character in the first book. So it is brother's best friend trope as well, which I don't really care about that trope, but in this one, I love it so much. So they like start to get to know each other because she gets a job, kind of the same place that he works, or just a place that he shows up a lot because he's a doctor, and so they have to, you know, see each other a lot more than they maybe want to in the beginning. But then they start an enemies with benefits relationship, which also fantastic trope, which I feel like I've never read other than in this one. But yeah, they hate each other, but they also are sexually attracted to each other. So it's very spicy. It's very good. This book is like 500 pages and it really flew by, and I could have done with like 500 more pages of this. But yeah, enemies to lovers, when they actually don't like each other, I love it. So this is like one of my new favorite romance books. I'm actually obsessed with it. I want to reread it right now. It's so good. Okay, and we've gotten to my absolute favorite romance trope. Have you guessed it? And my favorite romance trope is reverse grumpy sunshine. So good. I do like grumpy sunshine when the male's the grump and the girl's not as well, but I much prefer like a bitchy, cold female main character and a guy who's a golden retriever. Maybe you could have guessed by the fact that I mentioned I love golden retriever boys in my first trope that I love, but yeah, reverse grumpy sunshine is my all-time favorite trope. And the fourth book, actually, fourth book, and the fourth book actually in the Chestnut Springs series is gonna be grumpy sunshine, or reverse grumpy sunshine, and I am waiting for it. It comes out in June. I literally can't wait. I can't wait. I cannot wait. But anyways, we're not talking about that in this one. But my favorite book with the reverse Grumpy Sunshine that's already out that I've read is Always Only You by Chloe Leese. This is the second book in the Bergman Brothers series, which I skipped the first book to get to this one because I knew I was gonna love it. And I did. It wasn't like a full 5 stars, but it was really, really close. It was so, so good. And this one follows Ren and Frankie. I forgot their names, sorry. So Ren is on this hockey team, and she is on the staff, and he has always really liked her, but she hasn't really given him the time of day. But then they have to work closer together in this book, and he like just kind of like breaks down her defenses, and they're just so, so sweet. I would say that he's not as like sunshiny as a lot of the reverse Grumpy Sunshines that I've read, but he is definitely the more sunshiny of them. But yeah, it's just so cute and so slow burn, and I wouldn't say she's a bitch exactly, but she's definitely the grump in their relationship, and it was just so cute. I definitely need more reverse Grumpy Sunshine because as I said, I like regular Grumpy Sunshine, but not as much as this, and I love it. I love it so much. So yeah, those are my 5 favorite romance tropes. Let me know down below if you agree with any of these or if you have other ones. And then also don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and give the video a thumbs up if you don't mind. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!